अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So our today's topic is knowledge and knowables. Okay, knowledge means gyan and knowables means gne. Let me share the screen. Yes. Now we can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So knowledge and knowables, gyan or gne. Yes. What is knowledge? Soul's nature. Knowledge is soul's nature, power or attribute. So today I have also included the Hindi writings because we are not familiar with this terminology. So at least you can connect with the Hindi. So I have mentioned Hindi also. Before we start on to this topic of knowledge and knowables, what is the relationship between the two? So if you analyze the whole universe, there are only two elements. One is a knowledge element and another is a knowable element. Okay. One is knowledge element and another is knowable element. So today we would be learning about this knowledge and knowables. In short, we can say that we are covering the whole essence of Samaisar and Pravachansar, okay, by this topic. Although it has not been explicitly anywhere mentioned about this, but something here and something in Samaisar and something in Pravachansar, all to put together, these slides have been prepared. So today more of explanation would be there and less of reading from the slides. So first of all the souls of the universe experiences bliss because of knowledge, okay, but believes that joy comes from the external substances. But the reality is that the bliss comes from the knowledge. Bliss and knowledge are interconnected. It may not happen that you have the right knowledge and you are not experiencing the eternal bliss. Okay? Because bliss and knowledge both are connected. Right? So if we understand this technology behind this process of knowledge and knowables, we can say that we have known the entire Jinvani. It is the essence of Dvat Sang, 12 Angas, Dvat Sang. 12 Angas and 14 Purva is the total of Jinvani, and this is the essence of all this Jinvani. And if we understand this, we will definitely get liberated. Okay, so this technology has to be understood. Nowadays, everyone is having a mobile phone. Even the sweeper operates the mobile phone. The vegetable vendor operates the mobile phone. Everyone is now operating the mobile phone. Even the beggars are also having mobile phones. So they are operating the mobile phone. But those who manufacture, design these mobiles, they get very high salaries because they know the internal technology, how the mobile has been invented, how it works, if something goes wrong, where it is to be repaired. All this technology, though the engineers know it, and they get a very high salary for that. Similarly, if we understand this technology behind this knowledge and knowable, we will also get liberated. That is the highest fruit that we can look at. Okay, so knowledge is soul's nature, inherent nature. So the function of the soul is just to know, because soul's inherent nature is knowledge. And knowledge is an attribute of the soul. It is also called the power of the soul. Okay, so this nature, either you say nature or power or attribute, it all means the same soul's knowledge. Okay. Now, what is knowable? That which is worthy of being known. Okay. That which is worthy of being known. So first we will see the definition of knowledge. The attribute of the soul. Knowledge is the attribute of the soul that knows self and non-self. Self or self and others. Okay. That can differentiate between substances, that can decide what is worthy of acceptance or rejection. That is the knowledge attribute. Okay, so knowledge can know the self and the others. It can differentiate it between the substances and the third parties. It can decide what is worthy of acceptance or rejections. Okay, this much is the function of the knowledge. Now coming to the knowable, that which is worthy of being known. Okay. Now these are also, this is nothing but the subject of knowledge. What is knowable? Whatever reflects in our knowledge is called knowables or ज्ञेय. Okay. ज्ञान में जो झलकता है उसे ज्ञेय कहते हैं. Whatever reflects in our knowledge screen is termed as ज्ञेय. So it is the subject of our knowledge. Again, it is of two types, self and non-self. That means our own soul is also reflecting as a knowable in our knowledge. And the other things of the universe are also reflecting in our knowledge screen as non-self knowable. So knowables are of two types, self and non-self. Each and every object in the universe, each and every substance in the universe possesses this knowability attribute. We studied about 6 general attributes in the chapter of substance, attributes, and modification. Okay, existence, functionality, then changeability, then one was this knowability. So by that attribute, each and every object of the universe is being reflected in the knowledge, in someone's knowledge, whether in our knowledge or in the knowledge of the omniscient. But every object is reflecting somewhere. Okay, just because every object has the attribute of knowability in it. Okay, so this knowables are of two types, self and non-self. Okay, so in the category of non-self, all the objects of the universe are knowables as a non-self. And as far as we are concerned, my soul is a knowable for myself. Okay, so self and non-self. Now we'll go to the next slide. I am soul, knowledge resides in me. So by I, what do we mean? So from time immemorial, we have been knowing that I am Rajesh, I am gents, I am businessman, I am father, I am wife, I am lady, I am boy, I am doctor, I am engineer. We have so many titles given to us at different points of time. Okay, but here I means the soul. Okay, I means the supreme soul, Bhagwan Atma. Okay, the number 8, supreme real point of view. The object of supreme real point of view is the pure soul. Okay, that refers to here as I. Example. Uh, if someone says, if you show a 1 crore diamond to someone, and if he says that this is a simple glass, okay, then what it matters to the diamond? Nothing, right? The diamond does not become a glass if somebody says it glass. Similarly, I am pure soul. I am supreme soul. Okay, Bhagwan Atma. And I already am. I don't want to become, but I am. So here is the emphasis. Okay, so this is meaning of the word I. Then I am soul, knowledge resides in me. Okay, so what resides in me? Knowledge, not the karma, not the attachment, not the body, not the associations that we have got. Okay, nothing. Knowledge resides in me. Knowledge and many other infinite attributes resides in me. Okay, so this is the basic definition that we study in Bal Bodh. I am soul, knowledge resides in me. Okay. Then the next statement, I know the knowables through knowledge. Okay. So we have already understood know. Okay. Know the knowables through knowledge. So I know the knowables through knowledge. That means I know the knowables not through 5 senses. Okay. Not through body. Okay. Not through knowables. I know the knowables not through knowables, but through knowledge. I know the knowables not through I know the knowables. I know the knowables through knowledge. That means we negate the 5 senses, the body, the knowables, the true gods, true scriptures, and true monks, and any other instrumental cause that we understand. Okay. So I know the knowables through knowledge and nothing else. Okay. The 5 senses, we always had believed that we know the things through the 5 senses. I can see through the eyes, I can hear through ear, I can taste through my tongue. Okay, but this is not the right. Okay, when we see a small aeroplane through our eyes, right, it seems so small. So the eye sees the aeroplane as a very small entity, but in reality, it is the knowledge that says that it's a big, huge aeroplane, 300 people are sitting inside it. Okay. So if we believe it, what we see through eyes, we will be not having the right knowledge. Okay. Similarly, we smell through nose. Okay. Now, if I uh, if I smell a mango, right, I can make out that it is Alfonso or it is Kesar or it is Rajapuri, whatever it is. So who knows this? This I know through knowledge. I have the experience that this is this. Okay, the nose only smells the mango, but the knowledge identifies what it is. Now somebody is having a diabetes, okay? So he has a craving for sweets, okay? So the taste bud would say that eat that sweet. But the knowledge will say that if you eat that sweet, you will get killed, okay? Because you are having already high level of diabetes, right? So the five senses always the five senses are deceptive. It is through knowledge which saves us from this deception or cheating. Okay. So now just identify who is great, the knowledge or the senses. Those who believe that senses are great, they migrate in they migrate in the four states of existence. And those who know that the knowledge is great, they get liberated. They become liberated. Okay. So I know the knowables through knowledge. Okay. Now I know. Okay. So I don't do it. I just know. I don't do it. I am not a doer. I am not an enjoyer. But I just know. My function is just to know. Okay. All the people, all the living beings of this universe, okay, they are after enjoying the knowables, okay, and they become miserable because happiness doesn't lie in these knowables. These are all external substances which reflects in our knowledge screen. So the whole universe is after this knowables and they feel they will become happy with that. But the fact is that they never enjoy these knowables. Okay. They only know these knowables. They cannot do anything about that. They cannot enjoy that knowables. Okay. So I know the knowables. I just know the knowables. This is my true function. I just know and not do or enjoy. Okay. I know the knowables through knowledge. Now the next slide. The knowables are directly cognized, means reflected in my knowledge without any deliberate focusing on them. Okay. So all the time, something or the other is always reflecting in our knowledge screen. Okay. We don't go deliberately to know them, but it automatically gets reflected in us without doing anything. This knowables gets reflected in our knowledge screen. Okay. If you look at the omniscient, Arihant, and the liberated soul, the Siddhas, okay, they just remain engrossed in themselves and the whole universe is reflecting in their knowledge. Okay. That means if you go to know these knowables, then your knowledge decreases. But if you don't go to know these knowables, they automatically get reflected in your knowledge. Okay. So they never deliberately went and focused on the knowables, but it automatically gets reflected in them. There was one monk by the name of Sri Bhuti Muniraj. Okay. His memory was very weak. He was forgetting the Namokar mantra also. Okay. So, but he was internally very pure. Okay. So the Acharya told him to just remember two words, Matus, Marus. Okay. But he forgot that words also. Okay. But he saw a lady removing the cover of pulses. And from that, he connected to the knowledge that the soul and the body are two different objects. And in this way, by practicing discriminative knowledge, he attained omniscient knowledge. He just remained engrossed in himself and he manifested omniscient knowledge. And when he manifested omniscient knowledge, then in that omniscient knowledge, all the substances of the universe with its past, present, and future modification reflects in one moment. Okay, so he never had a very good memory. His memory was weak. He never remembered, but still he has now got the entire knowledge of science, commerce, doctory, physics, whatever you say. In omniscience knowledge, he has got covered all the knowledges. Okay, he know all the subjects. He uh, he know about all the jinvanis that we have. Okay, without without going to know them, everything is being reflected in his omniscience knowledge. Okay, that means the knowables are directly cognized, reflected in our knowledge without any deliberate focusing on them. Okay, so now we will learn this process of how this person like Sri Bhuti Muniraj, whose memory was so weak, he could manifest the omniscient knowledge. Okay, so we'll know how to manifest the process of the omniscient knowledge. So the one who wants to know different knowables in this universe, their knowledge gets obscured. Okay, that means they know less than what was their capacity. Just because they developed a curiosity to know the objects of the universe, their knowledge got obscured. Okay, and the one who never tried to know the things of the universe, in them the whole universe was reflected. Okay, so if you also want to manifest the uh, omniscient knowledge, then we should also be focusing in ourselves. Okay, and automatically all the objects of the universe with its past, present, and future modification will be reflecting in our omniscient knowledge. Okay, so the omniscient knowledge has also been manifested with without any deliberate focusing on them. So by knowing this process, we are relieved of knowing the future, right? We always have a curiosity, what will happen next, what will happen next. Now we are released from all these worries. There is no tension, no depression, no stress, because we know whatever has to reflect in our knowledge screen, it will come automatically on its own and in its right time. Okay. So then the question arises that we should look at the non-self or not, and we should focus on ourself or not. Both the question. We should look at the non-self or not, and we should look at the would ourself or not. The answer is, as we have understood technically how the knowledge attribute operates, how the knowledge process goes on. Okay, so that way we don't understand. Okay, and uh, we don't we don't uh, we don't do oneness with our knowledge nature. Okay, the knowledge is our inherent nature, but we don't identify ourselves with that, and we always crave to know the non-self. That is our mistakes. The moment we stop craving for knowing others and we focus on ourselves, automatically everything will be known to us without having deliberate focus on them. So whatever inventions have happened in the universe, that is also just because they were inventing something else and they invented something else. We can see the example of Wright brothers. They invented the aeroplanes, but they had a cycle shop. They were just repairing the cycles, and somehow they got interested and they started researching on this, and they end up discovering the aeroplane. the last point on this. So all the knowables automatically reflects in our knowledge screen. Okay. And when it reflects, we say that we are knowing intentionally all these knowables. So there is a coincidence. Those are automatically reflecting on our knowledge screen, and at the same time, we had a desire or craving to know them. It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Okay. So all the whatever we know, it automatically gets reflected on its own. Next point. Knowables. Sorry, one I missed. Yeah. Knowables does not arise. Sorry. Knowledge does not arise from the knowables. It arises from the eligibility of the moment. Okay. So there is a faith which says that knowledge arises from the knowables. ज्ञान ज्ञेयों से आता है. Okay. But our omniscient says that knowledge does not arise from the knowables. It arises from the eligibility of the moment. Okay. So we must have heard about Mirabai, then Kabir, then Surdas. All these were very great poets. Okay. They never studied in the school or college. Okay. But somehow they acquired this knowledge and they become very famous because of their creation of poems, And now their books are being taught in the colleges. Okay. But they never themselves studied. So where from all these knowledge they got? Okay. That is, the answer is the knowledge arises from the eligibility of the moment and not from the knowables, not from the books, nothing. Okay. Without books also, they acquired so much of knowledge. So ultimate truth is the eligibility of the moment. Last week we studied about cause and effect relationship, and in that also Nimit Upadan, we finally zeroed in on the eligibility of the moment. Okay. Tat samay ki yogyata. So everything happens according to this eligibility of the moment. Knowledge also arises from the eligibility of the moment. Okay. And all the modifications, past, present, and future, the eligibility is predetermined. Okay. And what has to be known on which numbers of modification is also predetermined. And it just gets reflected when the right time comes. And the soul is just the knower. Okay. Knower of what? Knower of the eligibility of the moment. Okay. As in a movie, one scene of the another scene just keeps on coming as it has been shot. Okay. And now when you play that movie, the scenes come accordingly. It has been shot. First this one, then that one. And you cannot change that sequence, right? It will come in that sequence only. And similarly, the eligibility of the moment of all the three times, past, present, and future, are all predetermined. There cannot be any change in that. Okay. Just accepting this truth relaxes us. Okay. There is nothing on our head to manifest anything, to do anything. Just be an observer or knower. Okay. So if your disposition uh, turns inauspicious, okay, then also there is no tension. If your disposition becomes auspicious, then also we should not be feeling proud about that, because auspicious and inauspicious disposition reflects in our knowledge screen according to the eligibility of the moment. Okay. We don't become auspicious or inauspicious because of that reflection. We remain soul, the pure soul only. Okay. So if the disposition turns inauspicious, never feel guilty or depressed. And if the disposition becomes of very high quality, they never take pride in this, because it is according to the eligibility of the moment, and I am not the eligibility of the moment. Okay. If you are able to understand this, then immediately we can experience eternal bliss, we can manifest passionlessness. Okay. We can manifest equanimity. Now, the next. Yeah. So these are the four terminology that out of these two we have already understood. What is Gne? That is knowables. That is the subject of our knowledge. Okay. Object of our knowledge. Whatever is reflecting in our knowledge screen are all knowables. The physical knowables are outside. Okay. They don't come in our knowledge, but their reflections comes in our knowledge screen. Okay. So knowables we know. Then the last one, the knowledge, that also we know. Okay. These two has been explained in the first slide. Now these two more terminology. What is this two more terminology? Gneyakar and Gyanakar. So Gneyakar is nothing but forms of knowables. Forms of knowables. And Gyanakar is nothing but forms of knowledge. Okay. So now we have four terminology: Gne, Gneyakar, Gyanakar, and Gyan. Okay. I'll just use this Hindi words only so that you don't get confused. Okay. Gne akar, that means Gne ka akar. Okay. Forms of knowables, that is called Gneyakar. So uh, from the knowables side, it is called Gneyakar. Okay. And from the knowledge side, this same thing is called Gyanakar, that we will just understand through an example. Okay. So why this 1 minute. So we will see the technology behind all these four terminology. Okay. So the examples are given in the next slide. Okay. So we have to make four columns. The first one would always be the Gne, the knowables, then Gneyakar, forms of knowable, then Gyanakar, forms of knowledge, and the knowledge. Okay. Now take this example, a black curtain reflected in a mirror. Okay. So what is knowable here? Gne. Can anyone answer? If you have understood. If you keep on answering, you will have more clarity. And even if you make a mistake. Yes, very good. Very good. Who answered? Chetna Ben?
Chetna.
Yeah, okay, good. Fine. So the knowable is the black curtain. Now next, what is this forms of knowable? Gneyakar.
Reflection.
Yes, curtains reflection in the mirror. Okay. The shape of curtain. So there is a black curtain. So in the mirror, it will also reflect as a black curtain and not a red curtain. Okay. So the curtains reflection, black curtains reflection in the mirror. Okay. So when the black curtain is reflected in the mirror, does the mirror become black? No. Mirror remains mirror. If you put a red curtain in front of it, it will reflect as red. If you put a black, it will reflect a black. So what is this Gneyakar, Gneyakar or the forms of knowable, the curtain's reflections in the mirror. Okay. Now the third one, Gyanakar. What is this Gyanakar? Gyanakar is the forms of knowledge. It's a modification of knowledge. So in this example, what would be Gyanakar? The modification of the mirror. Okay. What is that? Modification of the mirror. And the last one is mirror. In this example, it is mirror. So black curtain. Second step, reflection of black curtain in the mirror. Third, modification of the mirror. Okay. And the fourth, the mirror itself. Clear? This example is clear. Okay. So the black curtain is the knowable. Then reflection of black curtain in the mirror is the form of knowables. And the third one, that is the modification of the mirror. Okay. So the black curtain that is reflecting on the mirror is nothing but a modification of the mirror. Okay. And the last one is the mirror itself. Okay. Now, the physical mirror, the physical black curtain, okay, it is entirely the external substance. Okay. So that is mirror, that is out from the mirror anyways. Okay. Because it's an external substance. Only the reflection of the curtain is reflecting in the mirror. Okay. So the black curtain is absolutely external substance. So that has been ruled out. So now we have three things. Number two, the number 2, number 3, and number 4. So number 2 is curtain's reflection in the mirror, and the number 3 is modification of the mirror. Okay. Now if you see closely, the modification of the mirror and the curtain's reflection in the mirror are nothing but the same thing. Okay. From the side of black curtain, it is being said as a form of knowable. But from the side of mirror, if you see, same thing is the modification of the mirror. Okay. Because the black curtain is totally out because it's an external substance. Now, if we see that the curtain's reflection in mirror, so that is also out. Okay. So now what we have left? Whatever we have left is the modification of the mirror and the mirror itself. Now modification of the mirror and mirror are both the same thing. Okay. They are one entity. They are not two different entities. Okay. So just by looking at the black curtain, we can reach up to the mirror. Okay. This is called practice of discriminative knowledge. Okay. We will understand this in one more example, then you will be more clear about it. Okay. The next example, the moon reflecting in water. Okay. So the moon is the knowable. The moon's reflection in water is the forms of knowable, Gneyakar. Okay. Then
Modification in water
modification of water is Gyanakar, and
water itself is the last.
Gyan. Yeah, water itself is the Gyan. So, so the physical moon, that is already an external substance, that is out. Okay. Then the next step we see is the moon's reflection in water. Now, if you go and touch that, if you want to touch that moon, and if you put your hands in that, what you will have in hand? Water. Because there is no moon in that water. It is just the image of the moon reflecting in the water. Okay. So there is no moon. So second is also ruled out. Now what you have left is water and the modification of water, and they both are same thing. Okay. One entity only. So you come to the water. Similarly, now we see the principle. Through this example, we see the principles. This Gne, the knowables, that are reflecting in our knowledge screen are all external substance. These knowables does not come inside. These knowables never enter our knowledge. Okay, they remain where they are. Only their images are reflected in our knowledge screen. Okay, so that they are reflected, and that's why they are called Gneyakar. Gney ka akar. Okay, forms of knowables. Okay, so they are called forms of knowables. Gneyakar. Now, in actuality, the Gneyakar is nothing but the Jnanakar, because the Gneys are anyway external substance, so that is absolutely ruled out. Now the reflections of those knowables in the knowledge screen is a modification of the knowledge, is a modification of the soul. The knowledge is the modification of the soul, right? Knowledge screen is uh, soul's attribute. Okay, so the modification is the modification of the knowledge is an attribute of the soul. So they are both one thing. So by looking at the knowables, we come to the soul, pure soul. Okay, so I'll give you one more example. Supposing you go to somebody's place to see a girl for your son, right? So the moment you enter the hall and you see some paintings, and below that the girl's name is written. So what you see? Painting. And what you realize? That the girl is very good in painting. Then you see some certificates on the wall, framed in the wall, and you see her name, PhD or some gold medal or something like that. So you see that certificate, but what you realize? That the girl is very intelligent, right? So you see something, but you conclude something, right? दिखता है ज्ञेय, देखना है ज्ञान. So this is the technology that we have to learn from these examples. Okay, so in our day-to-day life, many things are getting reflected, but in reality, what it is nothing but our knowledge. We never know the knowables. Okay, what we know is our own knowledge screen only. Okay, and all these are being reflected in the knowledge screen. Okay, similarly, if you go and see a movie, right? So in the movie you will have scenes of flood, then there will be scenes of fire, but that flood or fire never enters the screen. Okay, it is just the projector that is just focusing on the screen, and you are that the movie has been shot and the scenes are keeping on changing, but no, not a single thing of the this knowables comes in that screen. It just get reflected. So similarly is our knowledge screen. We know all the knowables of the universe which gets reflected in our knowledge screen. Okay, but where we do the where is our mistake? The moment it reflects, we do oneness with it, we do mindness with it, we become a doer of that, and we become an enjoyer of that. Okay, and this is because of that we are suffering. Okay, if you understand this uh, technology of knowledge and knowables, you will see that from time immemorial, only these things have been reflected in our knowledge screen. Okay, we have just known our own knowledge only. We never know the non-self substances, because the non-self substances are reflected in our knowledge screen, and we know the knowledge screen only, right? So by understanding this technology, you will realize that the total value is of only knowledge only. There is nothing in this universe. Only there is knowledge and the knowables. The knowables are all external substances, and knowledge is an attribute of the soul. Okay. So we are the knowledge part and everything else is the non-soul part for us, which is just reflecting in our knowledge screen. So in reality, there is no relationship between the knowledge and the knowables. The relationship is only that this knowables reflects in our knowledge screen. Physically, we don't touch any of the knowledge, any of the knowables. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next slide. Yeah. The next slide is that this knowledge never becomes impure. Okay. So you go to the temple in the morning, right? So while you were going, you took a bath, wore fresh clothes, and you were going to the temple. And suddenly you saw a drain, something coming out of drain. And looking at that scene, do you feel that you have become impure? You go back to home and again take a bath? No, because you know that eyes are only seeing that drain and the uh, content over there. Okay, but eye doesn't become impure because of that seeing those drains and other things, right? Similarly, our knowledge never becomes impure. All the knowables are reflected in our knowledge screen, but the impurities of the knowables never enters the knowledge. So our knowledge has always remained pure. We have been to 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense, and we have been to different spaces, different time zones, and different dispositions that we have manifested. Okay, Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, Bhav, everywhere we had been wandering, but never we touched anything. As a soul, we just knew these things. Those got reflected in our knowledge screen and we never touched anything. So knowledge never becomes impure. Okay. And knowledge is never a cause of bondage. Okay. So the black curtain that reflects in the mirror doesn't become black. Similarly, the knowledge is never a cause of bondage. Only things get reflected in our knowledge screen, but the bondages happen when we do oneness with that, when we do mindness in that, when we become a doer of that, and we become an enjoyer of that. Okay, then only there is a bondage of karma. And the other thing is that we develop a kind of feeling of aversion to those knowables, that gets reflected in our knowledge screen. In fact, they are knowables only. You have to know them only, right? But we feel that this has to be reflected and this has not to be reflected. Because of that also, we 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 experience miseries. Okay. The third reason is that we want to remove those knowables from the knowledge, and then we feel that the knowledge will become pure. So that is also a wrong understanding. Okay. The knowables will always reflect in the knowledge, right? As in mirror, something or the other will reflect in the mirror any point of time. A mirror cannot be without any reflections. Similarly, our knowledge will never be without any reflections. It will reflect something or the other. Okay. So the knowledge never becomes impure. One more references is we will be studying in Samay Sarg, verse number 6, which will come up next week, not tomorrow, but next week. In verse number 6, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev has given 4 logics that why knowledge never becomes impure. The first logic that he has given is that knowledge is beyond the stages of spiritual development. Okay. So 1 to 6 stage. So there are 14 stages of spiritual development, and 1 to 6 is the stage of negligence, pramat. Okay. And 7 to 14 is the state of apramat. That means non-negligence. Okay. So negligence and non-negligence both are stages of spiritual development, and I transcend all the spiritual stages, so the soul never becomes impure. Okay, the soul never becomes impure. This is what the first reason. The second one was that when we experience this pure soul, we experience it as a pure soul and not impure soul. Okay, so that's why also the knowledge never becomes impure. The third was hmm, so the third was that this knowledge reflects the self and the non-self. Just as a lamp reflects the non-self, like reflects the um, say whatever is there in the room, say table, chair. Okay, so at that time also he remains a knower, and when he reflects himself, when the lamp reflects its own what you call light, then also he remains a knower. So similarly, the souls also never remains a knower in whatever the stages that happen. So that's why also the soul never becomes impure. Okay, and one more logic is there that I don't remember right now, but it is on similar lines. Okay, so the knowledge never becomes impure. Such a good thing to know that from time immemorial, we have been transmigrating in the four states of existence, but our knowledge attribute never becomes impure. It is still pure, and when we get liberated also, there also it will remain as a pure. Now, what are the powers of the soul, attributes of the soul that are working behind this technology of knowledge and knowables? So there are four attributes related to this mechanism of knowledge and knowables. First one is the knowledge attribute that we have discussed at length. Okay. The second is the function of the knowledge attributes is to know every moment. It's to know. Whether we know less or more doesn't matter. Only thing is that we know. Just as the we see through eyes, whether eyes is small or someone has big eyes. The function of the eye is just to see. Similarly, the function of the knowledge attribute is just to know. Every moment it keeps on knowing. Then the second is the omniscient power. Okay. So the omniscient power is the 100% manifestation of this knowledge attribute. Okay. So when this knowledge attribute manifest at 100% level, it becomes omniscient knowledge. And in that omniscient knowledge, the whole universe, along with their substance, attributes, and modification, past, present, and future, everything is reflected in one moment. Okay, so that is Sarvagnata Shakti or omniscient power. The third one is Swachhata Shakti, transparent reflection power. And the fourth one is Prakashakta Shakti, that is the illuminating power. Now, these two are very interesting to know, because whatever happens in our knowledge screen, that is because of these two powers. Okay. The first two also we discussed, but these two are very important. So first one we will see what is this transparent reflection power. Okay. In Hindi it is called Swachhata Shakti. Just because of this transparent reflection power, the knowables are reflected in the knowledge screen. What is behind this transparent reflection power? This is an attribute of the soul, and because of that, the knowables gets reflected in the knowledge screen. As we saw the black curtain reflecting in the mirror, similarly this. So if the water is muddy, less reflection will be there. If the water is pure, more reflections would be there, and clear reflections would be there. And sometimes, we don't get the words what we are thinking of. It's coming in our mind, it's reflecting in our knowledge screen, but we are not able to name it, what it is, just because the transparent reflection power is not working at that point of time properly. So we are not able to express what we are knowing it. Okay, so this happens because if the swachhatva, if the transparent reflection power is low, it will not reflect, just as we saw in the example of muddy water and clear water. So this is transparent reflection power. And the last one is the prakashak shakti, prakashatva shakti, that is illuminating power, self-illuminating power. Okay, so what is the function of this illuminating power? So the function of this illuminating power is to know differently all the objects. Okay, so the transparent reflection power was reflecting the knowables, and this prakashatva shakti, the illuminating power, it is illuminating it separately. It is identifying it separately. Okay, so in the Sachata Sakti, you see a tree, and in the illuminating power, you see each leaves of the tree differently. Okay, so this is the difference. Now, if you call 10 scholars to explain to talk on a topic, okay, on one particular topic, same topic for all the 10 scholars, each will uh, each will present its own presentation in a different manner. It will not be the same, because the grasping power of the same subject for all the different scholars are different because of this illuminating power. Okay, because of this illuminating power, it's different for different people. Okay, now what is the function of this knowledge attribute? Okay, so the knowledge attributes function is to know this reflection, transparent reflection power, and the illuminating power. Okay, so it's a triangle. On the top is the knowledge attribute, on one side at the bottom is the transparent reflection power, and on the other end is the illuminating power. Okay, so we know the knowables, okay, but not reflecting towards them, but not looking towards them. Okay, but we know the knowables by looking at our transparent reflection power. Okay, I'll give you an example. We drive car. Okay, so there is a mirror on the front. Okay, now if you want to see what's coming in the back side, if you want to turn, say, right side, then you have to look, okay, what is coming from the back side. So what you do, you turn around and see what is coming behind. No, you see on the mirror, and in that mirror, it's so adjusted that you can see what is coming from the back. Okay, so similarly, we also look at our transparent reflection power. Our knowledge attribute sees the transparent reflection power, and from there it is able to know what's reflecting in the knowledge screen. So whatever is reflecting in the knowledge screen is just because of these power: knowledge attribute, transparent reflection power, and this illuminating power. Okay, so there is a one famous statement by one scholar, Lalchand Bhai, who was there at the Swamiji's time. He was a very brilliant scholar, and he coined a term, જાણનારો જણાય છે, ખરેખર પર જણાતું નથી. That means we know the knower only. Okay, we don't know the non-self at all, because what we believe that we are knowing the non-self, actually we are knowing our knowledge only, our knowledge attribute only. It is getting reflected on our knowledge screen only. So the soul always looks at his own knowledge screen, and in that knowledge screen, the knowables are reflected. Okay, so in reality, we don't know the non-self substances. Okay, conventionally it is said that we know this, we know that, we know this, we know that, but these are all conventional statements. From the real point of view, we know our knowledge attribute, this transparent reflection power. Okay, so the omniscient God, what it does, um, it is always engrossed in the self. Okay, and because of its self-illuminating power, the self is also reflected, and the non-self, the whole universe, is reflected in their omniscient knowledge. Okay, so it is eliminating the self and the whole universe as a non-self. Okay, so there is a uh, uh, Sakal Gne Gnayak Tadapi Nijanand Rasleen. Okay, this is a statement from a verse. Okay, Sakal Gne Gnayak. So all the knowables are reflecting in my knowledge, but still I am fully engrossed in myself and not interested in knowing the whole universe. That's what omniscient says. Okay. So they always manifest this eternal bliss, and they always enjoy because they look in their, they always remain engrossed in themselves, and that is where the bliss comes from. Okay. So what is the use of knowing this? That in this universe, any of the objects, person, event, or karma cannot make us miserable. Okay, there is no way that these objects can make us miserable. If we become miserable, we suffer, it is because of our own eligibility of the moment, but not because of any external power. Okay, just as if a mad person abuses you, do you mind? No, because you already know that he is a mad person. He is not in his sense, right? So just because we know that this is a mad person, we don't mind. We don't manifest anger, nothing. Okay. So this is how we practice the discriminative knowledge, that this person is a mad. The moment you realize that this person is a mad, you have done the discrimination. Now, whatever he says, you don't mind because he is a mad person. Okay. So the moment we practice discriminative knowledge, the eligibility changes. Okay. And the misery is never manifest. Okay. Similarly, when we focus on our own pure soul, okay, then at that point of time, whatever people even they abuse you, okay, then also we don't mind because we are focusing on ourself. Okay, and similarly the monks, when they are undergoing afflictions, they also don't deviate from their self, and on the out externally, if you see, they are being subject to afflictions, but internally they are at very peace because they are engrossed in themselves and they are experiencing the eternal bliss all the time. Okay. So this is the technology behind these four attributes. Knowledge attribute, omniscient power, of course, is the ultimate thing. So it's the complete knowledge. Then we have transparent reflection power and this illuminating, self-illuminating power. Okay. So this is the four attributes that works behind the technology of knowledge and knowables. Now we will see some of the applications. Okay. So you know the six general attributes: existence, functionality, changeability, knowability,
constancy of individuality, and shape retention. Okay, these are the 6 general attributes that we studied in the chapter of substance attributes and modification. So these attributes are of 2 types: general attributes and specific attributes. General attributes are common across all the 6 types of substances, and the specific attributes is present in that specific substance and not any other substance. Okay, so now we will see that how this knowledge nature, okay, how this 6 general attributes we can apply within this knowledge nature. Okay, so what is this existence attribute? Due to this attribute, a substance is never destroyed nor created by anybody. So in terms of this knowledge nature, then the knowledge never gets destroyed. Okay, so we see the existence of this attribute in the knowledge nature. The next attribute is functionality. Okay, what does this attribute do? Due to this attribute, a substance performs its task perfectly and independently without any assistance. Okay, so now we will see the function of this attribute in the knowledge nature. Just because of this functionality, the knowledge attributes only does the job of knowing only. It does not become a doer. Okay, it only keeps on knowing. Okay. The third is changeability. Due to this attribute, the modification of the substance are continuously changing. Okay. So now when we apply this in the knowledge nature, what we come across, that every moment new modifications of knowledge is originating from the soul. Okay. So this is the function of this. Now the fourth one, knowability. We already discussed this knowability in the beginning, that each and every substance has this knowability attribute in them. So they gets reflected in one or the other kind of knowledge. So what is the function of this knowability attribute? Due to this attribute, a substance becomes the subject of any kind of knowledge, whether my knowledge or the knowledge of the omniscient, any kind of knowledge. So what it does here, in this knowledge nature, because of this knowledge nature, some the substance gets reflected in this knowledge. Like right now we have sensory knowledge and scriptural knowledge. Okay, so the knowables are reflected in this, all the knowables are reflected in this sensory or scriptural knowledge, or they are reflected in the omniscient knowledge. Okay, but this knowability attribute is also existing in this knowledge attribute. Okay, the next one is constancy of individuality, aguru lagutva shakti. Due to this attribute, a substance maintains its own state of substance. That means one substance cannot be transformed into any other substance. One attribute cannot become any other attribute. And the third point is, the infinite attributes in any one substance do not get scattered or separated or split out from the substance. And the last attribute is pradeshvatva gun, that is shape retention. And due to this attribute, the substance always have some form or shape. Okay. Similarly, this knowledge nature. Okay. This knowledge attribute has some form or the other, because this knowledge, this knowables gets reflected in this knowledge, and when these knowables get reflected in this knowledge, some form or the other form is always there. Okay, so So we can apply the 6 general, this one. 6 general attributes within the knowledge nature. Now we will be applying the 7 fundamentals in this knowledge nature. Okay, 7 fundamental elements within this knowledge nature. So what are the fundamental elements? Soul, non-soul, influx, bondage, stoppage, dissociation, and liberation. These are the 7 fundamentals. How does this apply in the knowledge nature? Okay, so the soul is the itself having knowledge nature. Okay, Gyan Sabhavi. Then the non-soul element is devoid of knowledge. Then influx and bondage. Okay, so when we forget our knowing nature, okay, when we forget our knowledge nature and become a doer or believe that happiness comes from external things, at that time we manifest influx and bondage. This is one reason. The second reason is just because for the cravings of the non-soul elements, we also manifest influx and bondage element. Okay. Now we will see the stoppage and the dissociation elements. So the knowing nature, when you have realized the knowing nature that it is only a knowing nature, it never becomes a doer. Okay. Then the stoppage of influx start happening. The internal purity starts manifesting and it keeps on increasing in the dissociation element. Okay. So when we realize that the happiness lies in our inherent knowledge nature, okay, that time we manifest the stoppage and dissociation elements. And the last is liberation element. Okay, so when we focus, when we get engrossed in the knowledge nature, okay, at that time we get liberated. So in this way we have applied the 7 fundamental elements within the knowledge nature. Next, the experience of the knowledge nature negates the 4 passions. How? Okay. So do you want liberation? So you will say, yes, we all want liberation, and that's why we are trying to understand this. Okay. So when these 4 passions doesn't manifest, because these 4 passions are the major passions, the other 9 are quasi passions. Okay. So these 4 are the major passions, and they have again got 4 levels. Okay. So these are the major cause of our transmigrations, these passions. So when these passions doesn't get manifested, we will automatically get liberated. So how? So we will see with 1 passions. Let's first consider the case of anger passion. Okay. So when you have realized, when you have experienced the knowledge nature, okay, you feel that there is nobody is harmful or your enemy in this universe. Okay, कोई बुरा नहीं लगता है. Okay, then the anger does not arise. Okay, and if the anger does not arise, then the hellish state will not keep you, because you are not manifesting anger. Okay, those who manifest anger, they end up in the hellish being. Okay, but you are, since you have experienced the knowledge nature, okay, and you have realized that there is nothing bad in this universe, everything is happening perfectly, so automatically the anger does not manifest. And if the anger does not manifest, the bondage doesn't happen, and so the hellish state is not ready to keep you. Okay, so the next, the greed passion. Okay. So when you have realized your knowledge nature, okay, then you realized that there is no happiness. There is no happiness in the knowables. Okay. So when there is no happiness in the knowables, so automatically the greed passion does not arise. Okay. And if the greed passion does not arise, the heavenly state would not be ready to keep you, because you have not manifested the greed passions. Okay. Similarly, the third one is the deceit passion. Okay. So when you have experienced the knowledge nature, knowledge nature, with the experience of the knowledge nature, you are satisfied in yourself. Okay. And when you are satisfied in yourself, you never indulge in any deceitful means, right? And when you don't get into deceitful means or deceitful passions, then the subhuman state is not ready to keep you, because those who manifest this deceitfulness, they only end up in subhuman state. Okay. And since you are satisfied with yourself, then you don't manifest deceitfulness. You don't want anything illegal to be done to get something. Okay. Because you are satisfied in yourself, so automatically the deceit passion does not arise, and since it does not arise, you don't, the subhuman state is not ready to keep you in them. Now coming on to the last passion, that is what? Krodh, man, maya. Now man is left, pride is left. Okay. So when you experience the knowledge nature, then you see that each and every soul of the universe is just like me, pure soul. Okay. So when you see everyone as similar to you, equal to you, then the pride passion does not arise. Okay. And if the pride passion does not arise, the human state is not ready to keep you. Okay. So in this way, compulsorily by default, you have to get liberated. Okay. So the only qualification that is required to get liberated is to enjoy this knowing nature, experience this knowledge nature. Okay. So this is the experience of the knowledge nature negates the four passions. Next. Within the knowledge nature, repentance, resolution, confession. So these three are rituals that a Jain generally every day undergoes: Pratikraman, Pratyakyan, and Alochna. Okay, very famous. The moment you realized, the moment you decided about what is your true knowledge nature, okay, at that moment all these three has manifested. How? So you know that the knowledge does not go into the knowables. Okay. Therefore, in this universe, never atikraman. Atikraman means what you call atikraman means going beyond our limit, that is called atikraman. I'm not getting the right word. So you don't transcend your boundaries. Okay. So when in this universe you never have transcended your boundaries, then where is the question of repentance? Okay. Repentance is only done when you have transcended your boundary, you have done something wrong. But when you see that your nature is just knowing nature and you don't do anything else than knowing, you don't go towards the knowables don't come within you. You just only the knowables just get reflected in your knowledge screen. So that means that you have not transited any of the boundaries, and so there is no way that you have to do the repentance. Okay, so this is the true repentance, and that happens when you experience your knowledge nature. Okay, the second is pratyakyan. Pratyakyan means resolution. Okay, so what is this resolution about? Resolution about not to repeat past mistakes in the future. Okay, so this knowledge nature will never become of any other nature in the future. It will always remain a knower. Okay, innocent knower, and that is called resolution. Okay, in the right sense. Now we will apply the confession in this knowledge nature. So confession is about the present faults that we do. Okay, so when you see yourself from all angles, innocent knower, when you see yourself from all angles only an innocent knower, then automatically the confession happens. Okay, so just by knowing and experiencing the knowledge nature, all these three in the real sense manifest: the repentance, the resolution, and confession. The next, the proof of non-absolutism within knowledge. Okay, so in Samaisar, in the end, in the appendix, it's given that if we believe the soul to be containing only knowledge attribute, then it will become absolutism. Okay, so the Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev says that it is not only the knowledge attribute. Knowledge attribute has been highlighted because it is the what you call, it is the characteristics of the soul. The soul is identified by its knowledge attribute. Okay, but it is not only the knowledge attribute that is there in the soul. There are infinite other attributes along with this knowledge attribute in the soul. Okay, but it was only said Gyan Matra, only knowledge is there in the soul, just to negate the attachment. But that doesn't mean that other attributes are not there. There are many other infinite attributes along with the knowledge in the soul. Okay, so that goes on to prove the theory of non-absolutism within the knowledge. Now 6 minutes are left. We are on to the last slide. Through the experience of the knowledge nature, the 8 components of right belief are manifested. 8 limbs or 8 components. Okay, so what are these 8 components? You must have read it in many places. It's in Chardala, and then it is in Ratnakaran Stravakachar and many other scriptures. Okay, so when you manifest a right belief, at that time, these 8 components automatically manifest. What are these 8 components? The first one is doubtlessness component. Okay, so we will apply this in the knowledge nature. Okay, so this doubtlessness component is about that there is no doubt regarding the 7 fundamental elements and the nature of true gods, true scriptures, and true monks. Okay, so that is called doubtlessness component. Now, if we apply in this knowledge nature, then even if the knowables are reflected in the forms of knowledge, ज्ञेयाकार, ज्ञानाकार में ज्ञेयाकार झलकने पर भी. Okay, so in the ज्ञानाकार, the ज्ञेयाकार्स are reflecting, the forms of knowables are reflecting in the forms of knowledge. Still, I am doubtless. I don't have any doubt that any of the knowables will enter the forms of knowledge. Okay. So that's why I am without doubt, doubtlessness. This is called doubtlessness. The second is desirelessness. Okay. So the one who has become doubtless will automatically become desireless, because he feels, when he has experienced his knowledge nature, he feels that there is not any requirement of any external substance of this universe, because I am fully satisfied in my knowing nature. And when you are satisfied in your knowing nature, automatically the desires don't crop up. And if the desire don't crop up, that is the manifestation of desirelessness, the second component. The third component is non-disgust. Okay, nirvichikitsa anga. So the knowables, the forms of knowable, like influx, because of the attachments and aversions that are manifested in the soul's modification. So these gets reflected in the knowledge screen, the attachments and aversion. Okay, this gets reflected in the knowledge screen, but we don't develop a feeling of disgust towards our knowing nature. Okay, so that is called non-disgust component. We never develop a feeling of disgust with our knowledge nature, although that in the same knowledge nature, the attachments and aversions are reflecting, but we never developed a feeling of disgust, because we know it's just a reflecting. It has not entered the knowing knowledge nature. The fourth one is amur drashti, non-stupidity in true gods, true scriptures, and true monks. Okay. So the right believer, although the right believer takes the responsibility of the forms of knowables, gneyakar, but he also says in the conventional statement that I am a sinful person, I am manifesting attachment. All these he says in conventional statement, but internally he believes that he is the pure soul, supreme soul. Okay, so that is called non-stupidity. The fourth is hiding fault of others, upguhan ang. Okay, so the one who has known the knowledge nature of his and he has experienced the eternal bliss, he is able to hide other people's faults. Okay, and this is called hiding faults of others. This component is called hiding faults of others. The next is stabilizing self and others in the religion. Okay, so when we are fearful of the knowable forms of knowable, then when we become fearful of the forms of knowables, then we will again remember that that in our knowledge there is nothing of forms of knowables or the knowables itself. This is called stabilizing of self. And when other people have similar problem, we stabilize them by telling them that your knowledge is always pure. It never enters any of the knowables to enter in themselves. So rejoice. Okay. So this is called stabilizing self and the others. By experiencing the knowledge nature, again, affection towards co-religionist manifest. Okay. So the one who has experienced his own knowledge nature also have this feeling of affection towards co-religionist or fellow aspirants, because their knowledge nature is also of similar kind. Okay, so automatically the affection towards co-religionist manifest. And the last is Prabhavna Ang. This was Vatsalya, and the last one is Prabhavna Ang, that is glorification of religion. So those people who have those who have experienced their knowledge nature, okay, they are only able to glorify the religion of religion. Just because they have themselves experienced the knowledge nature, they are able to help, they are able to help others to achieve their self-realization, and they become instrumental cause in their self-realization. Okay. In this way, the glorification of religion is also done through this knowledge, through the experience of this knowledge nature. Okay. So in short, by knowing this knowledge and the knowledgeables are the external substances that get reflected in our knowledge screen, and our primary function is just to know. Okay. And if you understand this knowledge nature of yours, okay, then you will be able to manifest the right belief, and in short time you will also get liberated. Okay. So this is all we have to discuss about this knowledge and knowables. Our time is also over, right time. So we'll just finish the stuti, and then if you have question answers, we will take those. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. बोलो द्वाद संगमयी जिनवाणी माता की जय.
जय.